The director, the head of football operations for the AAF, the Alliance of American Football, is J.K. McKay, and he joins us here on the show. J.K., good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Now, I feel like you are specifically well-versed in leading this league because you were part of the World League in 1975 and the XFL in the early 2000s, so you know rogue football leagues, right?
I do. I've been around a couple of them over the years.
All right, so what did you learn from the World Football League in 75 and your year with the XFL where you actually were the GM of the team that won the championship? What do you learn, derive from that you can bring to this experience?
Thank you for mentioning that I won the championship.
You're welcome.
That's key. I learned that it's a lot of fun. I think it's a space that I think there's room for this league. One thing that is important for the success of a spring football league is first and foremost the quality of play. We've got to put a good product on the field for our fans, and I think there are enough fans that want to watch football that time of year and don't want to stop watching football as soon as the Super Bowl is over. I also think it's important from a financial standpoint that investors have patience, because it's not going to turn a profit in year one. It just isn't. And it takes time to build this thing, but I really, truly believe that we can get that done.
How many years would it take to get on stable financial footing in your mind?
I think when you get into year three, you start to be able to hopefully even turn a profit. But I think it's, year two should be a lot better than year one. Year one's tough because of all the startup costs. But I think we have investors that understand that and are looking at it in the long term.
It's a single entity league, much like MLS is right now, kind of league owned, and there's obviously individual owners. But how does that structure set up differently than, say, the NFL?
Well, it just allows us to control costs a little bit. All of the players in the league, for example, will be under contract to the league, and then we will allocate players to teams through a process that's still being discussed, frankly. We will not be competing on a salary basis team to team, so that allows you to control costs a little bit and to manage things more centrally. So I think it gives you an advantage and makes sense in a startup like this.
J.K. McKay joins us from the Alliance of American Football, which will kick off coming up in February. So what happened to the XFL that you will prevent from happening to your league?
Well, what happened with the XFL, the XFL at that time had a really successful first year. The one problem was we were a television product. It was, NBC and WWE in partnership owned the league, and the XFL got canceled like a Saturday night television show would get canceled for low ratings. I mean, in terms of revenue, we did quite well, selling I think on average almost over 25,000 season tickets per team. So I think there was a lot that was successful about it, but it was a television product to NBC, and it just didn't get sufficient ratings, and that's not going to be how we survive. We've got a great television partner in CBS, and we think we can succeed where others have failed.
So that is interesting, because what you guys have announced is that CBS, the network, is going to carry your inaugural game and your championship game. And then the other games are going to be once a week on the CBS Sports Network and then also streamed on your mobile app. So there will be some television exposure for you, but I guess what you're saying is your success is reliant on CBS's ratings with your games, right?
That's exactly right.
So you also have a lot of former NFL players involved. Hines Ward, Justin Tuck, Troy Polamalu, Jared Allen's going to own one of the teams. Why is that significant for you guys?
Well, I think this league is first and foremost, we say it's an alliance between the players, the fans, and the game. But first and foremost, it's a players' league, and I think that we're looking at health and safety at every minute of every day. We're thinking about it. We've got Troy and Jared Allen, as you mentioned, and Justin Tuck and Hines Ward. That's what they're there for, is to make sure that the players are partners in this league. And we want to look out for the players at every turn and make this experience a great one for them, provide them opportunities, but then also to work with them while they're in our league and prepare them for when they're done with football, because that's an important piece to us, that we don't just cut them loose, that we help them down the road. We're going to provide scholarships for them while they're with us to finish college if need be, or do graduate work, and then we want to have jobs programs for them too, to make sure that this is a player-friendly league.
You know, it's interesting because sometimes in Hollywood, two similar films come out at the same exact time by two different directors, and you're like, how do they both time out the same exact way? And it almost felt like this when you guys rolled out your idea and then the XFL 2.0 rolled out their idea. Were you guys aware that you were competing leagues looking to kind of announce your intentions around the same time?
You know, I can't really answer that. I'm sorry, because I wasn't part of it at that point. I came in more recently than that. I was aware of the XFL, you know, and the talk about it making a comeback, but I really can't speak to the timing as to how the two relate to each other.
So what cities are you guys going to target? Is it going to be cities that don't have NFL teams or cities that do have NFL teams?
I think you'll probably see a little bit of both. We're going to roll out those cities over, and head coaches over the next, I would say, 8 weeks, starting in April. We're a long way towards cutting deals with cities and with head coaches, so we'll be able to do that over the next 8 weeks. I think you'll probably see a mix of some teams where there might be an NFL team and others where there is not.
Will there be games played in NFL stadiums within those NFL cities, or would you have to play in stadiums that were not already being played with NFL games?
Could be either one. They are available. The great thing about spring football is you've got these stadiums, various sizes in most of our major cities that are mostly empty this time of year. So there's a great deal of availability, which works to our benefit.
Right. The only risk, though, is you could have a 3/4 empty stadium, right? I mean, I don't think you guys want to go into 80,000 seat stadiums in year one, do you?
Probably not. You know, we might in certain circumstances, but you raise a good point. It's kind of we're hoping to get, you know, we'd love to get 30,000-40,000 people into our games. That'd be a huge success in year one. Smaller stadiums certainly can accommodate us.
Are you looking for a good relationship with the NFL where you could become a developmental arm of the league?
You know, we don't want to be a developmental league. Yes. Are we looking for a good relationship with the NFL? Absolutely. And I think we can be a complementary league to them. But to call us developmental, I don't think that's the way we see it. We see that we're going to have the next best players in the world, and some of them will actually be better maybe than players that got a chance. I think the one thing that's always frustrated me is there's a fine line between the guys that make it and don't, and a lot of times the difference is they just never got an opportunity to play. Some guys are better when they play in a game than they are when they run in a combine or even at practice. So sometimes I think you'll see guys in our league that all of a sudden get a chance to actually play, and I think there'll be some eyes open and say, wow, that guy's better than I thought he was. So I think we're a complementary league. We don't see ourselves as a developmental league.
Finally, what about players that have checkered past, guys like Johnny Manziel or Aldon Smith or Greg Hardy that are no longer fit for the NFL because of behavioral issues? Will you guys welcome those types of guys?
I think, you know, the only fair way to do that would be on a case-by-case basis. I think you got to look at it and say, what was the problem? Is it something that we feel like a guy deserves a second chance? In many cases, yes. In some cases, no. So I honestly think the only way to deal with that is case by case.
So you couldn't say with any certainty that if a guy has a checkered legal past, you would absolutely say yes or no. There's no kind of, hey, we don't want bad dudes in this league. You couldn't say that.
Well, we don't want bad dudes, but you know, we might be willing to take a guy that's made a mistake that we feel like he deserves a second chance. Again, it's you know, I don't think there's a real bright line. We'll just try to do the right thing in every case.
Interesting. J.K. McKay joins us. He's the head of football operations for the Alliance of American Football, which will kick off coming up in February. As the teams get announced and cities get announced, I'm sure some of them will be in our affiliate cities. Would you like to come on when we get some teams announced? We could talk about those locations?
Absolutely. Love to talk about them.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks, J.K. Good stuff, man.
Okay, man. Thanks.
J.K. McKay joining us here on the show for the Alliance of American Football.